Hello, everybody. I am Deborah Dondelinger, and
I'm Sunday
I know.
Cote.
And today we are we're sort of being brave, and we're going someplace that is really important to us and to the whole country, but it's a little bit more personal and vulnerable. We'll be talking about what it means to be white and what it means to be doing anti-racism work, what it means to be racist as a white person. So, Sunday, you want to say a little bit more, and then we'll sort of jump in. Yeah.
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 So, um, I think I've been thinking about this as far as uh, there's been kind of this awakening, I think, that is more so than there's been in many, many years for lots of different reasons of white people waking up to our privilege and to the fact that we're actually white and that we're not the default. We're actually uh, a culture and a race, and that the world around us works in a certain way that privileges us. And it's kind of like, I share the story oftentimes about waking up to our interconnectedness as human beings that happened when the first time we saw a photo from space of the Earth. And the astronauts talk about this moment that they had this new awareness of our experience. And it's, in spiritual practice and psychological practice, that's a subject objects transformation or transcendence. So the subject, so that's something that's been unconscious to us because it's just who we are, what it is. We're living on Earth, it just is. And then all of a sudden we had this awareness that the subjective part of us became the object. And we all have that ability to develop a witness consciousness that takes us beyond our ego perspective. And so in some ways, that's what's happened to white people in United States specifically, but I think in general, it's kind of been flowing out through the world, that all of a sudden the subjective experience of being white that has just been as all of a sudden in front of us to be able to see it. And this is a place of spiritual growth, of healing, but it also, when that happens, can bring forth a lot of guilt and shame and anger and resistance and denial and all kinds of things. And so that's kind of what we're talking about today, regardless of where anybody is on their path, on their journey, that where it's an opportunity for us to acknowledge what it means to all of a sudden have that awareness that we're white, and all that entails, the good and the bad that it entails.
So
So
for
we're
those of you,
focusing for white people today
yes, yes,
because we have to do this work. We have to do this work ourselves.
yeah. And obviously, if you're Black or a person of color and you want to watch, I think it'll be safe for you to do that. But really, this is us taking responsibility for our part in being white. So, yeah. And just notice, for those of you watching, as Sunday was talking, do you feel uncomfortable with just the beginning of this conversation? And I remember the first time that I did a podcast on anti-racism and saying I am white, I was uncomfortable saying those words out loud. So that's where we're going to start. And if everybody could just tap on how they feel when they say that, everybody white, see, I did it right there, did it right there. And if anybody who's white said, I am white, and they can start to own what comes with that, that would move us so far forward in this anti-racism work. So we're going to be tapping. If you don't know the points, there'll be a link under here to find out what the points are. But basically, we're tapping on these points of our body, and it helps us move feelings and emotions. And Sunday is sort of the demo person. I'll be leading us. And the trouble is that Sunday's done a lot of work around this, so she's not going to be in the same place as the rest of us. But just so everybody, when you say "I am white," what do you feel in your body? And Sunday, what comes up for you when you say that?
Yeah, well, so I think if I think back of the first time that I might have been this awareness, there there's some resistance to that, of
Mm-hmm.
like being um, you know tied down to this definition,
Mm,
in that, that because we're not accustomed to that. Like I said,
mm-hmm,
we're just accustomed to being, just a person and
mm-hmm.
not having that identifier mark. And so there's kind of, this that sense of that.
Okay.
Um, but that discomfort of having, of even saying that, definitely is is not as much now. But
Yeah.
I can totally relate and remember that kind of sense, like, oh, you know,
And what I notice for myself is I actually feel a little bit scared. like by saying that I am in danger. I am at the risk of receiving the wrath of people who aren't white, or I'm in danger. That's what it feels like inside my body when I say that. So there can be a range of feelings here. So, all right, so we're going to tap side of the hand. As I notice how I feel when I say I am white,
So I notice how I feel when I say I'm white.
I hold myself with gentleness and compassion.
I hold myself with gentleness and compassion.
As I realize there's a lot of weight behind saying I am white.
I realize there's a lot of weight behind saying I am white.
Yeah, there's a long history of what being white means.
It's a long history about what being white means.
And it's not that pretty.
It's not that pretty.
Yeah, no wonder it's uncomfortable to say I am white.
No wonder it's uncomfortable to say I am white.
I hold myself with care and compassion.
I hold myself with care and compassion.
Even though part of me feels restricted if I say I am white.
Even though part of me feels restricted by saying I am white.
I don't want to be put in that box.
I don't want to be put in that box.
Yeah, I hold myself with care and compassion.
I hold myself with care and compassion.
Yeah, moving through the points on the eyebrow. I am white.
I am white.
Noticing how that feels to say.
Noticing how that feels to say.
This discomfort in my body.
Discomfort in my body.
This sense of danger.
Sense of danger.
This sense of shame.
Sense of shame.
This sense of guilt.
Sense of guilt.
Under the arm, this sense of unease.
Sense of unease.
Noticing how it feels. How it feels to say I am white.
Noticing how it feels to say I am white.
Okay, good. Stop there in a gentle breath. And what are you noticing for yourself?
It's kind of, there's lots of things going on, right? That idea of saying I am white and realizing how that's connected to white power, the Ku Klux Klan, that, the white supremacy, and that's, yeah, a lot of that came up of that. And I think I had a reaction to that I am danger because we're the danger, so it's kind of even like how dare I feel like I'm in danger, which is the whole baseline of white supremacy, of the fear of the other, the fear of people of color, or someone that doesn't look like me being a danger. And that's like, we are not a danger. That, so that came up for me as like, we're not in danger at all.
Yeah.
But then there's still just that sense of,
at a cellular level, white people have a built-in fear of Black people. I mean, we've been programmed, so it's unconscious in our bodies, and structurally, no, we're not in danger. So how do you reconcile the two? And so when we're tapping, we're really going to the truth in our bodies, so we can let it shift, so we can go to the structural changes that you're going to be talking about. So all right, so lots here. All right, we're going to tap, so and you can change the words if you want to. Even though the KKK is white.
No, the KKK is white.
And what does that mean if I'm white too?
What does that mean if I'm white too?
Yeah, I don't wish harm on anybody.
I don't wish harm on anybody.
Yeah, but white privilege has caused damage to people of color and Black people.
White privilege has caused damage to people of color, to Black people.
Yeah, and I hold all these points of truth with care and compassion.
I hold all these points of truth with care and compassion.
Yeah, even though I'm not like the KKK.
Even though I'm not like the KKK.
But I am white.
But I'm white.
And part of that tears my heart apart.
Part of that tears my heart apart.
Yeah. I hold my grief with care and compassion. Yeah.
I hold my grief with care and compassion.
Yeah, moving through the points. This collective grief.
This collective grief.
This personal grief.
This personal grief.
Yeah. How have I harmed people of color and Black people?
How have I harmed people of color, Black people, Indigenous people?
Yeah. How have I been part of a system that's hurt others?
How have I been a part of a system that's hurt others?
Yeah, I'm willing to feel what's going on for myself
Willing to feel what's going on with myself
so I can turn to bigger changes that are needed.
so I can turn to bigger changes that are needed.
It's okay to be sad,
It's okay to be sad.
but we're not going to get stuck here.
We're not going to get stuck here.
Yeah, good. Deep breath. So anytime we get to a nice deep emotional tapping, it's great because it lets it move through us. And I know for doing this work of anti-racism, we can like, oh, I'm not allowed to feel sad because I haven't been harmed. Like when it's really okay to feel this stuff as long as we don't get stuck in that victim role at all. So yeah, what did you notice for you? And what else? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that, the emotion and the sadness, and that, yeah, that it's okay for us to have those emotions and the sadness, which is, part of the healing work as well.
Yeah.
And I was thinking in one of the tapping about I've harmed people
Yeah.
of color because of systemic racism, and then what I was thinking is that I have benefited
Yes. I've
from
benefited.
the systems of systemic racism and
Yeah.
privilege, and I think that's sometimes the hardest to
Yes.
really acknowledge, that it's unearned privilege,
Mm-hmm.
that just by the color of my skin I
Mm-hmm.
have unearned privilege,
Yeah.
that others don't have. And
Yeah.
so just acknowledging that benefit
Yeah.
is there, and then that brings up all kinds of
Yeah.
other emotions and things that go along
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
So
Let's
yeah,
totally tap on that. So yeah. Even though I've benefited from being white,
even though I benefit from being white,
yeah, and I don't know what to do with that sometimes.
I don't know what to do with that
Yeah,
sometimes.
I'm willing to acknowledge that this is true.
I'm willing to acknowledge that this is true.
Even though I have benefited and my family has benefited and everybody I know who is white has benefited.
Even though I've benefited, my family's benefited, everybody I know who's benefited, even if we have challenges in our life,
Yeah,
it's not because we're white.
yeah, exactly. Once I start to see this, I can't unsee it.
Once I start to see this, I can see it.
Yeah. Even though it's uncomfortable to realize that I benefit because of the color of my skin as a white person.
Even though it's comfortable to acknowledge that I benefit because the color of my skin.
Yeah, I'm willing to look at this with an open heart
I'm willing to look at this with an open heart
and a brave heart.
and a brave heart.
Yeah, because too many people have suffered for far too long.
Because too many people have suffered for far too long.
And now's the time.
And now's the time.
It's way past time.
It's way past time.
Yeah, living through the points. I have benefited as a white person.
I have benefited as a white person.
I've benefited from white supremacy systems and structures.
I have benefited from white supremacy systems and structures.
As a white person, I have benefited from how my country is set up.
As a white person, I benefited from the way our country has been set up from the beginning.
Yeah. And I was unconscious about it.
And I was unconscious about it.
I did not know.
I did not know.
And now I do.
And now I do.
Yeah. And even though it is a privilege to not have known.
And even though it's a privilege to not have known.
Yeah. Because every BIPOC person listening to this knows.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color knows.
Yeah. I forgive myself for not knowing.
I forgive myself for not knowing.
And now I can't unsee it.
Now I can see it.
Yeah. I'm willing to keep looking within.
I'm willing to keep looking within.
And looking without, or looking out.
Looking
yeah.
out.
Yeah. I'm committed to doing my part with this anti-racism.
I'm committed to do my part with anti-racism.
Now's the time.
Now's the time.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, good. How you feel?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah. I like being a tuning fork for the bigger feeling. So yeah. And before we shift to what Sunday's going to do, if those of you watching, if you're still feeling uncomfortable or triggered or on edge, pause and do some few more rounds of tapping, just how you feel in your body, holding yourself with care and compassion, and then join back in with where we are with Sunday. So, all right, it's all yours. I get to listen now.
Yeah. All right. So if you feel comfortable to close your eyes, you can always keep your eyes open if that feels safer. But for this practice, if you feel okay to close your eyes, and let's just take a nice deep breath in and allow that breath, breathe it down into the body and breathe it out, just out through your toes and out through your fingers. And maybe just, I feel like shaking a little bit, just shake it off a little bit, that energy. I know that my heart feels just really open in this moment and grateful for the opportunity to do this work and to be in this place and to know that we each have so much power in our individual work, the healing that we do in our individual work, just that tapping that we do to acknowledge and to understand how we benefit from the system is a powerful thing to move us into the healing of ourselves individually and then collectively as well. So what I want to do is create this intention of love and compassion. And we're just going to begin with ourselves. And so, as we have done every week, we just bring forth this collective consciousness of like minded souls, people that are willing to do this work, who are interested in doing collective healing and individual healing, who know that there's an interconnectedness and a oneness. And we just create this circle. And just in your mind's eye or energetically, somatically, just imagine this wonderful group, this huge group. It grows every week of more and more connecting to this idea of oneness and interconnectedness and this energy of love. I see it in my mind's eye as this circle of light, all these light beings. And let us just place ourselves in the middle of that circle right now. Just allow yourself to feel into and to receive the loving energy, the power and the presence that is in this circle of light, all these light beings, this collective one. It might even just morph into one bright light, all these individual lights coming together, and that we're in the center of it. We're in the center of this bathing, beautiful, powerful energy, this light. Just allow yourself to, as much as you can, open yourself up to this safe and loving energy. You might even notice that light moving through you. You might notice that light transforming any experiences of shame or guilt or pain, or just holding it. And we get to just experience this awareness of the divine light that we are, no matter what our experiences out in the world, no matter how we have benefited from the physical expression that we are in the world, or no matter how we have not benefited from that, that underneath that skin color and that body is divine light that transcends the physical experience. So in this moment, if there is a sense of guilt or shame about this experience of being white, or the experience of not being white, just find that place within you. And you might even just visualize yourself finding that guilt or that pain and just putting it into your hands. This guilt, this pain, of systemic racism, of white privilege. And you're still bathed in this white light. And we know that that there is a wave and a particle in in our experience. And so this is a particle that has been created in the physical form in some ways of white supremacy, of white privilege, of unconscious bias. And we're holding that particle in our hand right now, that part that was within us. And as you hold that part, there might even be a sense of gratitude for how that part has served you, whether it's been unconscious or not. But knowing that it is time to let it go, to no longer benefit from it, to no longer allow it to run our lives unconsciously, causing harm. And so we take that particle right now, and however you visualize it, as you are in this beautiful, loving white light, release that particle out into this universal energy so that it becomes a wave. It dissolves into this energetic nothingness. It no longer has that physical form of white supremacy or racism or unconscious bias. It is now a wave of pure potentiality. It has moved back into this huge ocean of potential. And in this moment, we can recreate, we can call back a particle. We can choose to create something new. And so out of that field of pure potentiality, out of that divine light that we're sitting in, that we're bathed in, that we're part of this collective energy, choose now to call back a particle that has a different form, a different story. And this is a story of equity, of love, of beautiful diversity, and yet absolute equity, where everyone has the same potential, the same opportunity, where there is an appreciation of the uniqueness, that we are one, but we are not the same, and that's a beautiful thing. So we bring back this particle of diversity and love and equity, and just this beautiful sense of oneness, and let us place that within our beings. And as you do that, feel that energy moving through you, this new experience, this new particle. And it bursts forth from us back out into this world, and we become this loving light. And now from this new place, this new awareness, this new experience, let us call forth. We move back into this loving light energy, and let us just call forth those who have been up until now pushed away from this experience of oneness. So Black, Indigenous, and people of color, those who we have thought of as other, whether we've consciously known this or not, let us bring all of those loving energy, that diverse light, into our circle, and we see their diversity. Even though we're all light, we see the unique expressions, and let us just bring them into this circle. And if you are listening to this and you are a Black, Indigenous, or person of color, please step into this light presence and feel this new experience of equity, of love, of light. As we say, I see you, I hear you, I acknowledge you. You are special and unique and important, You are safe and you are loved. Just continue to radiate that love and that light from this new experience of equity and love. And now, in these last few moments, let us move all of this beautiful color and light and diversity and energy just into this wonderful experience of expanding our circle. And let us just imagine that beautiful new particle that we have created emanating out from our very center in this moment, beyond the walls where we sit, into our neighborhoods, into our town, across our state, throughout our country. Let it ripple out from continent to continent, over the oceans. And as we move around the earth, let us see that beautiful earth where we started from today, of acknowledging this place where everything we love, every experience, every expression is on this beautiful blue marble. And so we just surround it with this new energy of equity and love and fairness and justice. And as we leave that energy out into the universe, as it expands out, we just breathe ourselves, our physical experience, back into our seat in this moment, breathing down into our body. Place our hands over our hearts and allow that energy to move down through our feet to the soles of our feet, grounding us back into this beautiful Mother Earth, knowing that we are one. We are one. And allow this awareness to remain in our hearts as we begin to come back, and open your eyes if you choose to, acknowledging this powerful presence of the one expression of love that we are. So it is.
Thank you, Sunday. All right. Bye, everybody.